Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 bringing to another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. And this year marks another important moment in wrestling history. It was 20 years ago in 2003 that The Rock officially turned heel and debuted his new gimmick, Hollywood Rock. Now, Hollywood Rock was more or less an extension of The Rock's real life movie star persona, so to speak. So he pretty much took his real life movie persona, applied it to WWE, and just dialed it up to 100. And he was more like a spoilt little brat who felt that he owed wrestling fans nothing. He became a huge star in Hollywood and had box office smash hit after box office smash hit, and pretty much took the fans' disdain and hatred and just used it against them, so to speak. I mean, there's no other way to really put it. And out of all of the heel personas that The Rock has portrayed in his career, from the early days as Rocky Maivia to the ruler of the Nation of Domination to the corporate champion, I would say Hollywood Rock was quite possibly his best run as a heel. And even though it only lasted a total of 3 months, he did a lot in those 3 months. He was funny, he was entertaining, he made everyone look good, he put a lot of guys over, he had an entertaining little feud with the Hurricane, who he put over, by the way. Unbelievable. You know, he put over Jeff Hardy, he put over Goldberg, he made him look like a legit monster. You know, he faced Hulk Hogan in a rematch at No Way Out. He finally beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19, which obviously led to him retiring. So everything about Hollywood Rock was fantastic. And the cool thing about the Hollywood Rock persona, it just more or less happened organically and out of nowhere. You know, there was no like teases that The Rock was going to turn heel. You could kind of say the fans turned The Rock heel, so to speak. They kind of started turning against him, started booing him out of the building, and felt that The Rock had sold them down the river to become a huge movie star. And the first time that I can remember that the seeds were planted for a future heel turn was back at WrestleMania 18 in 2002 when The Rock faced Hulk Hogan in the classic Icon versus Icon match. And I remember me and my best friend, we were into the match, the atmosphere was great, the action was great, and it ultimately stole the show, and rightly so. So much so that poor old Triple H and Chris Jericho couldn't follow that. Who could? No one could. But something very interesting happened in that match. The Rock got absolutely booed out of the building. Now, obviously Rock got booed at WrestleMania 17 when he faced Stone Cold, but I kind of put that down as it was Stone Cold's hometown of Texas, and, you know, they were just into Austin. But ultimately, The Rock won over a lot of people due to his unbelievable athletic performance that he put on in that match. And the fans were popping towards the end for The Rock, you know, because The Rock wouldn't stay down. But here, against The Rock, no matter what he did, he got booed, and booed loudly. And The Rock turned heel in the match without actually turning officially. It was more or less Rock's way of saying, okay, if you want to boo me, that's fine, so I'm going to do what I like, and if you don't like it, too bad. So that was kind of like the seeds were planted for a future Rock heel turn. Rock, of course, won the match. Him and Hogan shook hands. They became a bit of a team for a few weeks and feuded with Hall and Nash. And of course, Rock was drafted to SmackDown, and he went on another hiatus to, you know, promote the Scorpion King. But he never turned heel. You know, he came back in the summer of 2002, won the WWE Undisputed title, and no boos, business as usual. Fans were into The Rock, they were cheering him every week. And then you get to SummerSlam when he faced Brock Lesnar in the main event. And it's kind of reminded me of Survivor Series 1996 when Shawn Michaels faced Psycho Sid in Madison Square Garden. Shawn Michaels got absolutely booed out of the building, and they were cheering for Psycho Sid, who was just over like gangbusters. That sort of thing happened here with The Rock when he faced Brock Lesnar. They loudly cheered Brock Lesnar and absolutely booed The Rock out of the building. Worse than WrestleMania. They started chanting Rocky sucks, you sold out, you know, they were saying everything under the sun. And the thing with The Rock, he didn't let it rattle him. He was a pro, he just carried on. You could see The Rock was getting a little bit angry, but I put that down to the fact that The Rock was just trolling the fans. He was just like, feeding off their hatred. I really enjoyed that. And there was a cool moment after the show ended. He got on the mic and he pretty much said that The Rock is still your people's champion and Sing Along with The Rock is over. And he left. And he was gone for a few months, came back in 2003 with a brand new look, shaved head, new tattoos. Everything about The Rock was just brand new. It was like he completely transformed his character. So after an epic 3-year run as the top babyface, The Rock decided, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this, which he did. I'm going to use the fans' hatred, turn it against them. I'm going to turn heel. And boy, what a heel run it was. And it's so interesting because it only lasted a total of 3 months. It's just incredible. It really is. And in those 3 months, he made everyone around him better. He put over a lot of guys, especially Hurricane. I mean, he made Hurricane look like $1,000,000. I thought their program they had for those few weeks was just entertaining as hell. I thought they had unbelievable chemistry and they worked very well together. And, as I said, he made Goldberg look like a legit monster. And that was actually a really good match. I still say to this day that Goldberg's best match was against The Rock at Backlash. That's a testament to The Rock himself. The kind of guy he is. He can make anybody look good. And his promo work, let's talk about it. His promo work was dynamite. I still say to this day, the promo in Toronto, Canada, at the scene of the crime, WrestleMania, he let the fans have it. He absolutely buried the fans. He ripped into them. It was just so fun. It was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing at it. It was just so brilliant. And that's the thing I like about The Rock, especially with his heel personas. He never forgets what happened before. When The Rock left the nation and he turned face and then he joined Vince McMahon's corporation, he pretty much said, I didn't forget how you treated me for those couple of years. Even when he joined the nation as well, going back a bit further, Rock's attitude was, I tried to be the good guy. You didn't want to know. So you know what? You can stick it where the sun don't shine. I'm going to do what I want. And the thing with Hollywood Rock, he didn't forget about the boos at WrestleMania against Hulk Hogan. He didn't forget about the boos against Brock Lesnar. Although the WrestleMania reaction was more addressed than the one with Brock Lesnar, I would have liked to have seen the reaction about SummerSlam be addressed more, because I felt that's where the boos were more at its worst than WrestleMania. But it is what it is. But it was just so entertaining. The only downside is I just wished it lasted a little bit longer. Would have maybe snuck in a couple of more months. I would have loved to have seen Hollywood Rock and Booker T. I think that could have been really, really entertaining. Maybe a little confrontation with Triple H for old time's sake, but We didn't get that, unfortunately. We nearly did. I think they did mention something, but it didn't happen. But the funny thing about Hollywood Rock is, no matter how hard he tried to make you hate him, you just couldn't help but love him because he was so good. As I said, would have liked at least maybe a 5 month run, and then he goes back to being a face. But it's interesting that the fans turned on The Rock originally, but then ultimately, The Rock does what he does best. He wins them back over because he's so good. You can't help but love him. He's so entertaining. And even both of his rock concerts, where The Rock got his acoustic guitar out and started burying the fans in their hometown and dissing Stone Cold and Goldberg, they were some of the best segments ever on Raw during the Ruthless Aggression era. And also, another thing that never really gets talked about enough is Rock during this run really showed how versatile he was as a performer. He could be cocky 1 minute, he could be arrogant the next, he could be funny. There wasn't anything that The Rock couldn't do. He could sing, he was entertaining as hell. That's all I've got to say. And he could make you laugh, even though you wanted to slap The Rock, you couldn't help but laugh at the same time because he had you in the palm of his hands and there was nothing anyone could do about it but just laugh and smile and be entertained. And it's pretty amazing when you look back at it that it was 20 years ago. Such a short run, but so fresh. And it's interesting to see that Rock's hill runs never lasted long, but he really packed a lot in such a short time. And I think that's what makes Hollywood Rock so special because it was only 3 months, as I said before. But he did a lot during that time, and everybody thrived. Nothing bad to say about this. I think I would have liked to see The Rock stick around a bit longer, maybe challenge for the title, but I think Rock, by that point, he was so big that he didn't really need the title anymore. Would have been cool to see him win the gold again one last time. I know he did like years later, like a decade later, but I would have liked to have seen Hollywood Rock as the champion, just to rub it in the fans' faces. Could have done a story where Rock could take the title to Hollywood. That would have been interesting, but I'm happy with what we got. I don't think there's anything I would have changed, except I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more. So that's going to be it from me. I am going to wrap this up now. What was your favourite moment from Hollywood Rock's Hill Run? Did you enjoy his program with Hulk Hogan? Did you enjoy his program with Stone Cold Steve Austin? Did you enjoy his program with Bill Goldberg? Did you like his Toronto promo? Did you like both Hollywood Rock concerts? And do you consider Hollywood Rock to be the best hill run of Rock's career? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.